covering the world of professional wrestling from coast to post. A show for the Busted Open Nation. This is the Nation Corner. Here are your hosts, Front Row, Sony, Justice, and Debhausen.
Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row, and joining me this week, as always, the greatest truck driver of all time, Tony Justice, and Debhausen, the great and powerful. What's up, people?
What's happening?
What is up?
Well, we have an exciting show tonight because joining us tonight is Victor Benjamin, the Savage Gentleman. We're going to bring him on in a moment. He's had such an exciting run lately, and I'm really excited to talk to him. But before we do, what's your week's been like? What's been going on in your lives?
Oh, lots of work as usual, and wrestling afterwards.
Same.
Yeah. Trucking and a wrestling and a trucking, man. Last weekend I was in Atlanta with you and trucked all week to get home for my niece's birthday party, which is going on right now as I speak. And so after the show, I'm going to be going back over there with them. But right now, we're just going to rip it for the show tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, much the same for me. It was a long weekend, a lot of wrestling. I think we saw a combined 4,000 hours last weekend. It felt like it anyway. My hands actually were bleeding by Sunday from clapping so much. But let's jump right into it. At this time, I want to bring in special guest to the show. He is the leader of the Peanut Butter Platoon. He is the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin. Victor, how are you tonight?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Awesome. So we got a ton of questions for you, but I kind of want to jump right into what happened last weekend. It was a big weekend of a lot of action in the GPB studios in Atlanta. NWA was unfortunately hit with some government protocols, so there was a reduced crowd size, but it was packed with a lot of excited fans, a lot of people who are excited to see you, and I'm just wondering, like, what your overall feeling of the weekend was.
I mean, the weekend in a whole was incredible. It was the first time in the NWA locker room. That in itself was just an experience to be around and surrounded by so many talented athletes, so many talented wrestlers. But being in Atlanta, is always fun. It's always good times being down there. The protocols, unfortunately, we couldn't do anything about that. That was unfortunate, especially for everyone that wasn't able to come, that bought tickets previously. That was a real heartbreaker. But I mean, I loved every single moment of it.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, and I was interested to know, so we've been to all the tapings, we've been to the GPB and all the prior iterations, and we've had the chance to see Lady Frost there in the GPB studios in June and going forward. What was it? So how did the involvement of the Savage Gentleman in the NWA come about?
They obviously, they're familiar with my wife and my wife's work, that they reached out shortly after her second taping there and wanted to see some more of my information, some more of my matches. And shortly after that, they extended an offer for me to come down as well.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool. And the locker room there seems to change. There's some folks that are there pretty much every time, like your Tim Storms and Trevor Murdochs and Nick Aldis and folks like that. But it seems like there's an ever-growing and changing locker room there. Was there anybody specific that you're looking forward to working with?
I mean, all of them, to be honest. There's not one specific person I was like, that guy. Obviously, there's some new people that are popping up in the locker room. I had a blast getting to become one of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions this week. Getting to work alongside Taven and Bennett. Those two are awesome. I know them from my short time at Ring of Honor, at the dojo. But those two guys, freaking amazing.
Yeah, so let's jump right into that match on Power. You get to team with them against the Fixers and Colby Carino. And we've seen Colby since the early days of Power. He was, more of a good guy back then, but now he's really emerged as one of the top bad guys in the NWA.
Yeah.
You guys had great chemistry in there. What was it like working, with him?
I mean, he's a great athlete. He reminds me of the evil boss from the original Space Jam. And he runs all these giant monsters. I don't get it how he has the power over those two gigantic men, but he's literally just the same thing. He has a little scratchy, crouchy little voice. But I had a blast in there with those guys as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, just prior to that, you were in that gauntlet match on Hard Times 2. And, being part of an NWA pay-per-view is a pretty cool spotlight for someone who's been blazing this trail, especially this year. I know it was sort of you didn't get as much ring time in that match, but it was a pretty fun match to see live.
Yeah, I mean, I can't ask for a better way to debut in NWA, that's for certain. The fact that they're starting a whole new bracket, the junior heavyweights again, they're bringing that back. I got to be introduced as one of those junior heavyweights on the pay-per-view. I mean, it truly was, I was very appreciative, for the respect that they gave me for my work, and that I wasn't just placed on a dark match, which easily, very well could have happened. But the fact that I got to showcase, even though I didn't have much time, I think I still made a statement with everything that I was able to do with my more limited time.
So were you at all surprised at the overwhelming reaction that you got from the crowd that weekend?
I was actually, I'm not in Atlanta often. So, you guys like yourself travel a little bit, but I was really surprised at the ovation that I did receive, whenever the pop that I got whenever I came out of the curtain. It was amazing, especially for the limited crowd that we had. There was, I think, 90 people were allowed in the building. So
Yeah.
that alone, for the noise level that 90 people generated, was insane.
Well, I'll put you over because the Savage chants all throughout the weekend were loud, and it was pretty exciting. I don't know you well, but I'm super excited to see you come to the NWA. And I don't know if they caught it on camera, but after your match on Power, OGK brought you back out, and and made a big deal of you. And I thought that was pretty cool of them to help with that spotlight.
Yeah, that was huge. Those guys, like I said, they're amazing. They're obviously true professionals. They've been doing this much longer than I have. And to be teamed with those guys, I couldn't have asked for a better debut on Power either. Very, very, very thankful, the NWA, bringing me in and putting me in the gauntlet for the junior heavyweight tournament, to qualifiers, an opportunity for the junior heavyweight championship. And then to be tagged with, which were originally a special attraction, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, and put in there with them, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, and for this fan, I felt like you belong there. You were right in there, hitting hard, doing your thing. You bring this really unique style where you have these crisp kicks and strikes and lockups, and I think that's a really good fit for the NWA and their style of show. So congratulations on a great weekend.
Thank you.
Before we move on, did you guys have any other NWA questions?
I just want to know, since you've had some experience in the NWA now, what was your favorite part of getting to have that experience last weekend?
It hasn't aired yet, so can't talk about it. But I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It was on
I don't. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I'm extremely jealous.
Oh, Zipper, you gotta keep it on locks.
I don't want to get a letter from Mr. Corgan. Let's not spoil anything.
Absolutely not. Too soon. I'm too new. Too soon. But honestly, like I said, it was getting the team with those guys. I knew those guys for a while. We actually were talking, my wife and I were talking about maybe possibly teaming up against either Mike and Maria or Matt and Mike. And for me to get thrust right in alongside those guys, that was one of the coolest things.
Wow. I personally would love to see you two go against Mike and Maria.
Yeah, likewise. There's certainly a lot of fairly new free agent husband and wife tag teams that, are spawning up everywhere now after the recent slew of releases again.
Right. That's amazing. Tony, you got anything?
My comment, for the NWA is, man, I am extremely excited to see you at the NWA, and I'm extremely just can't wait to see what's in store for you, man, because you were definitely an awesome specimen in the ring.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did receive a good bit of feedback, and as you mentioned, I got very crisp. I've got my style, was very aggressive, but it's exactly what they were looking for. So fingers crossed, I'll be back.
That's awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, and the only feedback I can give you is, we had the opportunity to spend some time with the roster after the shows, and the general vibe was that, man, you were such a great fit and a welcome addition to the locker room and to the show. And I heard nothing but great things from all the people we talked to. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good to hear. The locker room was incredible. I mean, having been to pretty much all of the main places, you can wrestle at, that locker room was by far one of the coolest I've ever been in for the amount of talent that was there, especially.
Did you get specific feedback? Because I was talking to on the post show, our friends, the Bearded Trio host the post show on the NWA channel, and they spoke specifically about how the veterans of the industry who were there were providing feedback either in the warm-ups or any of the prep matches and stuff like that. Did you get feedback specifically before the show, or did they just let you go out and do your thing?
No, like I said, they asked to see, what I could do previously, before even arriving down there. And they kind of just let me go ahead and do my own thing, which I was very grateful for. And that's one thing that NWA is really great with, that they let everyone be themselves. They don't try to handcuff anyone or restrict or limit. And even after the matches, I got a ton of great feedback from the vets, from the office, the producers, everything. It was great. It was very, very good experience overall.
That's very cool. So we wanted to talk a little bit about your style is very unique. There are other martial artists, there are other MMA fighters who are in pro wrestling, but it's a delicate balance for anybody who's trained. It's a delicate balance to get in there and do what you do, make it look great without sending someone to the hospital every night. Right. So, but you have this ability, and even stuff like your step up knee strikes. They look. I was 5 feet away and I was worried. So that's how good it looks. That's how good your stuff is. So how have you been able to blend your martial arts training, with your pro wrestling style?
It took me quite some time, because when I first broke in, I had very limited pro wrestling and a ton of experience in the martial arts world. Trying to transition that, I was met with some resistance. Especially from vets and local vets. They didn't want to change their style to conform to mine. And then, so I completely abandoned that. The wife and I went full gimmick, really embraced the character aspect of everything, and that's when we started to gain some traction. And not too long ago, I got to debut at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, which really changed some things for me. It helped put things into perspective. He gave me a lot of great advice. That guy is a genius, especially when it comes to blending the two worlds, especially in his locker room. the guys in there are handpicked 100%. There's no filler spots. And so I was very, very thankful to have that opportunity. But then moving forward, I knew that I could no longer just be the character. I knew I had to utilize my other experience in the martial arts world. And I had to find that seamless transition almost to blend the two. Still being character-based, still being the savage gentleman, but at the same time, putting that into a world where a different audience outside of the MMA world would experience and comprehend it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting because
fascinating.
if you look across the whole spectrum, there are some folks who are doing it well, but your Kyle O'Reillys and Matt Riddle of the world, like
Yes.
they have a similar blend, but they don't have the same style as you. They're a very different presentation of that blend, and it's exciting to see you bring that to a bigger stage.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's one thing my wife and myself pride ourselves on, and it's being unique, it's being original, having a look that and a presentation and an in-ring style that is all our own. Not to take anything from Riddle or Kyle O'Reilly, because they're great and their styles are incredible, and I've studied their matches endlessly. But I want to be me, and that's how you get noticed. There's only so many spots, and there's no room for duplicates.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, man.
you mentioned Bloodsport, and your match with Bad Guy Tito, like that was a hard hitting match, and all of the matches there, I really gravitate towards the Bloodsport style. We've seen so many really exciting people over there. Lindsay Snow was their champion just a few years ago, pre-pandemic. And any other opportunities to maybe go back there?
I froze a little bit. What was that?
Oh, said any other opportunities to maybe return to Bloodsport?
I have spoken with Josh, and he did say I'm on the list. So I'm assuming, their last show was just on the West Coast. So I'm assuming whenever they come back to the East Coast, hopefully I'll get the invite again.
That's awesome. I hope to see that soon. That would be really cool.
So, on a lighter note, I'm really curious to see to understand how the whole Peanut Butter Platoon and the Butterfinger Championship thing came about.
How much time do we got?
However much you want.
As weird and random as it is, it's been about a 3-year journey via Twitter and Instagram. Last year, though, I made a post. It was one of those weird, random pictures that photographers like to post of people that are unflattering. I had like one wonky eye. My tongue was halfway out of my mouth. But I used it to my benefit, as any true professional should. And I utilized it in captioned with screaming about all the 50% off Halloween candy. Tagged a whole bunch of those guys. And next thing you know, Butterfinger followed me. Then they followed me on Twitter. And they proceeded. They were in the DMs. Asked if they could send me some merch, pretty much. And I was like, sure, absolutely. I'm never going to turn down free Butterfingers. Who in their right mind would?
Right.
So after a few times communicating back and forth, a couple different packages were sent to my house. One was even sent for my wife. It was a Valentine's Day box. And Butterfinger was her secret admirer. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
So, they really did right by both of us. They didn't neglect one or the other. And when I was down there for Bloodsport in Tampa, I received a message from Butterfinger on the final night right before we were heading home. And it said, your crispity crunchity surprise has arrived. And at the time, I had no idea what that meant. I thought I was getting a giant Nerf gun. Because at the time, that's what they were pushing with their Halo ad. So I was thinking, hell yeah, I'll shoot my wife. I'll shoot my dogs. messed everyone up with a Nerf gun. You know, giant kid. It's what we do. I wrestle in my underwear. And lo and behold, it was something entirely better. It was this thing.
That is amazing.
I love
And
that
they
so
had it
much.
custom made for me, my name,
Awesome.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
and no one's allowed to touch it. Those are the rules. They even sent me like a 2-paragraph handwritten letter proclaiming me as the peanut butter champion.
Nice.
Crazy.
So, of course, again, I rolled with it. And I created an army, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that specifically started. It was just one of those natural things that just, after time, just took place. And now I'm the general.
And you have
Makes
the paperwork
sense.
to prove it.
Right.
Indeed, yes. I have merch. I have a title. I have... Butterfinger was even sending people jackets. The BFI jackets. And
oh my God.
I have a few that travel with me, and some people are going to be walking out, and I got to keep my title safe. No one can lay a finger on it. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
who better to protect it than a Butterfinger investigator?
Exactly.
That's amazing. And you've even defended it.
I have defended it quite a few times, actually.
I recently rewatched your match with Lance Archer, and
Oh, yeah.
I love that match because it was hard hitting, and he started off not really being affected by some of your offense, but boy, did you wear him down towards the end of that match. It was a struggle. It was a really interesting struggle, but it
He's a
ended DQ.
monster.
He
Oh,
is
yeah.
a monster. Well, but thankfully you had your army with you.
See? I always come prepared. The Peanut Butter Platoon came to life that evening.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you can find some really cool shirts for Savage Gentlemen, including Peanut Butter Platoon shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. Go check it out. There's some really cool stuff over there.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm wearing the old
speaking
Oh,
of
yeah.
peanut butter, I wanted to know. I've seen some of posts on Twitter of kind of interesting peanut butter, banana, whatever combinations. I wanted to know, what is your favorite out of all the interesting, weird recipes you've come up with?
So my favorite by far is peanut butter on eggs.
I
Which-
saw that. Yeah,
That's what
it sounds
started all of this.
delicious.
It's amazing. Especially, like, now it's become one of my staples for road trips. Every morning, I'll wake up, make a dozen eggs, throw on some sugar-free syrup, peanut butter on the top of that, sprinkle some cinnamon. And what it is breadless French toast.
Yeah,
So
I'm a massive fan of French toast, so that sounds absolutely delicious to me. And I'm
It's
also
so
a
good.
massive fan of the Elvis sandwich.
Oh,
So
that's
that is
also
just
delicious.
perfection.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you could not be.
Right.
But yeah, that's
Tony, do you like
Elvis
Elvis sandwich? Tony's the biggest Elvis fan I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I'm an Elvis fan. See,
Uh-oh.
I mean,
There he goes.
boom.
Yeah.
But I don't like peanut butter. I don't like bananas. So the bananas is.
I thought you were going to say you didn't like peanut butter, and then we were going to have a
Oh, I
problem.
love peanut
Yeah.
butter. Oh my god, I love peanut butter.
Yeah, but we really have a problem that you don't like the Elvis sandwich. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Bananas are just. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can do the peanut butter part, but the bananas, you're gonna have to cut the bananas.
Good. Well, you're not gonna get blocked. You're not gonna get unfriended. Then we're good still.
Thanks, bro. I can always count on you.
I'm
And
an
my
old school
stepdad
fluffer nutter. Get a
actually
nice.
is a huge Elvis fan. So
Yeah,
I understand where you come from.
Yeah, I used to be. Not everybody knows this, but I used to be an Elvis impersonator. So,
Really?
back when I had hair,
And he's a damn good singer too.
Mm.
I'm gonna need proof of this. I'm gonna need some proof.
I'm still looking for the pictures. I'm still looking for the pictures.
All right.
Well, there's my cape right over there, but I can't turn the computer around. But it's on the wall. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you later.
Good deal.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time, but I did have a couple more quick questions. I know you recently had the opportunity to be on AEW, which is pretty cool. I know we were all excited when we saw the announcement. What was the AEW experience like for you?
Again, I was met with nothing but smiles and really, really good feedback.
Yeah.
It's in a business that can be so fickle and so ego-driven. It was a blessing in order for me to be there in the first place with so many talented people. But then I had the opportunity to work Kazarian. Again, a true pros pro. Him and I had the opportunity to tear it down in front of like 10,000 people. Our time got cut, unfortunately, so we didn't have too much time out there. But again, it's about making the best of what you have. And after I was done, everyone had very positive things to say towards me. And, I was just recently down there for studio tapings again.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
And I think one of the other things, I know, Deb, you wanted to touch on this. We've been big supporters of Lady Frost since we saw her here in Queens of Combat years ago. And to see you guys team up and do the Pretty Proper thing is not only interesting, but you guys do some really creative things that other traditional tag teams don't do because of the size difference, because of her agility and her athleticism, as well as your strength and power. So I recently rewatched your match with Bear Country, and
Good one.
that was so much fun. But some of the things that you were able to do were just so new to me. And I was wondering, I know, Deb, you had some questions about intergender tag team wrestling.
Right. I just wanted to know if there's any specific other mixed gender tag team that you'd like to go against, and your upcoming goals for next year. You guys have had a pretty good year this year. You've got your name out to a lot of people. I know before this year, I really didn't know much about either of the two of you. So I just want to know, since this year has been so good, what other things do you want to accomplish next year?
With the recent announcement, of my wife being signed with Impact, that's obviously going to be a goal of mine to either get there or, another one of the major companies, and really help cement my legacy as well. Ideally, a great landing spot would be with her at Impact, just because of the intergender action that they do allow. And her and I could team up, reprise that role as Pretty Proper again. And segueing into the amount of intergender tags that there are right now, and so many available. We touched on Mike and Maria earlier, but then you have Jordan Grace and John Gresham. You have Scarlett and Killer Cross. Who else? There's so many right now that for me to just pick one isn't fair. But those are definitely at the top of the list.
Okay, so selfishly, I would like to see Pretty Proper versus Nick and Mickie James.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Put that in an NWA ring on a pay-per-view, yes, please.
Those are two of the goats.
Make my money.
Yeah, that is a major headlining match right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and I would love that match. Again, Nick, he's the one that essentially revitalized NWA. And now you have Mickie, who's on top. She's the Impact champion, doing things that no one else is doing right now. And she's bringing herself to a whole nother level. And to put those two in a ring with us I think it would create magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, Deb, do you have any other questions for the Savage Gentleman before we let him go?
Well, all I had to say,
Go ahead, Tony.
Go ahead, Deb. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay.
Ladies
I just
first.
have
Ladies first.
one little comment. I noticed the logo on your shirt. I'm assuming that that's your company.
No, actually, this is a local company. It is
Okay.
a real estate company that sponsored our show. It's Arkham Realty.
Okay. So
And-
as a fellow Pennsylvanian, that is the most badass logo for a retail company or a realty company I've ever seen in my life, because it has the keystone on it and it's Arkham. I just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, actually, if you watch, I don't know how many of you watched the Wrestle Pit show, but
No.
he actually had a custom title, and we awarded that to the winner of the Pittsburgh Scramble match. So,
Okay.
and it's created by Wildcat, the same company that makes the WWE titles. So it's a very, very good quality title, championship, that was custom made for him and all of his clients. But it was very, very giving and allowed us to use that as a prop for the show. He was the show sponsor. Can't thank Stefan enough.
That's awesome. Yeah, I live on the other side of the state. I'm from the Allentown area, but I am a fellow Steelers fan. So.
Yes.
So yeah, it's I just noticed that logo and I thought that was pretty cool.
Thanks.
Tony has to go and show off his garbage over there.
Uh-oh.
I have something to ask of you, Victor. One of the guys was in here earlier, Hijacker Mike. He's one of our hosts, and I wanted to know what are some of your favorite promotions for?
Favorite promotions? Mm-hmm. Beyond for sure, because they really gave life to Pretty Proper as a tag team. They helped us get out there. PWX in North Carolina is another one. I love that company. You're familiar. Mm-hmm. And then Pele Pro. They've done a lot for me recently in the short time that they've been around, and that's actually where I got to defend my championship against Lance Archer.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
So
awesome.
I did have a quick question about PWX, because we saw you at the PWX show a few months ago, and I think you had a match against Shug D, and that was the card Minoru Suzuki was on, and I was wondering if you had any time. Did you spend any time with him, or what was he like to be around?
I didn't spend very much time with him. He kind of kept to himself, which I completely understand. But the moments in passing that we did share and spend speaking together, he was so respectful. And as was I towards him. He's a legend. And just to be able to share the locker room with someone like that in itself was rewarding. Not to mention the entire show, where everyone again was so nice. The locker room was so cool, so chill to be around, and again, so much talent. It was literally, I think at the time, it was their biggest show to date.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. And I know Minoru Suzuki and Anthony Henry beat the hell out of each other.
Oh my goodness, did they ever? I watched it I was holding my chest the whole time, every strike, and so snug, and I was like, oh, I loved every minute of it. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I was thankful it wasn't me in there.
Right.
To his credit, Henry brought the fight, though. He did not back down from the challenge.
Absolutely, and he is a stud. Him and I have talked about it, and God willing, however the stars align, him and I are definitely going to mix it up in the future.
Oh, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
So I did see that you're both on, you and Lady Frost are both on the same card in different matches coming up for Hurricane Pro.
Yes.
That's a very interesting matchup. It's an interesting card. So you're challenging for the title, and she's defending the title, the women's championship.
Also challenging for the title.
Yes, that's right. It's a champion versus champion match, right?
Yes. It's gonna be like Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior feels. And
I love
it. I get the talented Edge Stone. Him and I have talked, months about doing this, and we finally get the opportunity. And I couldn't think of a better way to do it than to beat him for his title.
Yeah,
Why not?
That's fair enough.
Right.
I'll take his title. She brings her home with another one. We'll put them all under the tree. Nice little accoutrement to the Christmas family.
There you go. I can't wait to
It'll
see
come-
that picture on Twitter.
It'll come a
Yes.
week early.
Spoiler. Well, we're pretty excited about everything that you guys have going on, and I can't wait to see what you're doing next year, and hope to see you again back in the NWA for the next set of tapings and pay-per-views and stuff, wherever they happen to be. Where can people find you on the socials?
I'm at Real Savage Gent on every single social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Cash App at Real Savage Gent. If anyone wants to throw some birthday presents my way, I'm open to that. It's my birthday in like 3 hours.
Oh,
That's
yes.
right. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I get to defend my title, this one tomorrow in DC. So, again, I'm very thankful that I get to wrestle on my birthday. Do what I love. That's the best part about all of this is we truly love what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
awesome.
cool. Oh, just real quick, our producer Hijacker Mike wanted to jump in real quick.
Oh,
What's up, Hijacker? Here he comes.
What's up, guys?
There you are.
hey,
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing all right, man. This is great. This is the first time I'm getting to hear of you. I've seen some of your footage, man. Would you be interested coming out west?
Absolutely.
Because I work for a promotion called Big Time Wrestling in California in the Bay Area for Kirk White. And I see some of your material, and I would love to talk to him about bringing you out here and getting you out here to the West Coast. I'm not sure if you've ever been to the West Coast, but would love to have you out here. Enjoy your character. Glad you got Butterfinger behind you. You're the real deal, my man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. Yeah, I would love to come out. I haven't been there in years. The last time I was out the West Coast was to train at the New Japan Dojo.
Wow.
So I think that was about 3 years ago. I got to train under some great guys like Shibata, who's recently making a resurgence as well. But I mean, absolutely. Title, bring Butterfinger. We'll have a peanut butter party. Company actually that I don't know if any of you know this, but I have my own peanut butter now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is
I have
nice.
my own peanut butter now. It's from Fucking Nuts.
Ah,
Okay.
And they're California based. So depending where Big Time is, maybe we bring peanut butter, have a peanut butter party.
Dude, you would be perfect because you would be a fan favorite. We're pretty much 40 minutes from San Francisco, 20 minutes from Oakland. So we're Bay Area based.
Okay.
You would be phenomenal. The fans would gravitate towards you, and that would be a wrap right there, brother.
Can't
there
wait.
it is. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Hijacker.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Savage.
Welcome. Have a good night.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our favorite human on the planet, who we share an acquaintance with, Mick Foley, married to you guys. And Lady Frost told us that story on the show before, but I was so happy to see him in Atlanta last week and to be part of the show that you were on. I thought that was so cool.
So was I. Like, I forgot. I knew he was coming, and then I forgot about it. I got caught up with the travel and trying to make state to state, get there in time. And then I saw him, and he yelled my name. And of course, I had to run and just give him a gigantic hug. That's the nicest human in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Victor, I can't thank you enough for your time tonight. We're so excited to see what you guys have coming up. Everybody watch NWA Power on Fight on Tuesday nights at 6:05 p.m. And stay tuned for more from the Savage Gentleman. Victor, have a great night.
Victor,
Thank you.
One thing before you
Yes.
go, man.
Oh.
One thing before you go. All of
What's
us
up?
here at the Nation's Corner want to appreciate you for being on the show tonight. And as a token of our appreciation, I would like to give you a Butterfinger. There you go, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Eat that and think of us, brother.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Cheers.
Well, that was amazing.
That was fantastic. Thanks for the laugh, Tony. Oh my God.
Well, he's all kinds of awesome, and I'm so glad he had the time to spend with us tonight because we had a chance to hang out a little bit in Atlanta, and he's just so nice, so cool, and so deadly in the ring, and
Yeah.
all of those things all in one person. So let's switch gears a little bit here. I know we're going to talk about some wrestling. We're sort of limited on time. I know everybody wants to go see the Final Battle pay-per-view as well as the Mission Pro Silver Bells pay-per-view. So let's hit on a couple of topics. The only WWE thing that I really wanted to talk about, and we'll make it brief, was Brock Lesnar with a microphone is not a thing that I thought I would love, but here we are. He was so funny last night on Smackdown.
Yeah.
When he was on the mic and he was sitting in the chair talking to Sammy, and then when Paul got the mic and started talking, and it's like that switch went off from Brock's mind. Like he pumped him up with the reigning defending stuff, and it's like, oh my God, that he shifted into overdrive and he threw those two guys like, oh my God, he threw them like hard. I mean, they had to hit those ropes hard. I'm talking hard. Wow.
Yeah, and the stuff that he did backstage with Adam Pearce was like, it was on point, and he managed to be funny and engaging while still never letting you forget that he's Brock effing Lesnar, right?
Right. I wish that Brock Lesnar did this sooner. We heard Mark Henry on Busted Open this morning talk about how Brock Lesnar is a really funny guy and really entertaining, and it's about time that he showed that on screen.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so let's switch into some AEW talk because it was a big week this week. Some really cool stuff. So, Deb, I know you had a rundown of some of the highlights for us.
So I guess the major thing from AEW this week is Hook's debut on Rampage last night. Just scrolling through my Twitter feed today, I just saw nothing but fellow wrestlers and fans talking about how impressed they were by him. His agility, his speed, the moves that he could do. It was just astounding that someone who is so young and so new was able to move like that in the ring. And he really impressed a lot of people. Man, Hook hype is real.
Agreed. And I see in the chat, Neil's in the chat, and I want to give a shout out to Neil and Scotty and Elder Mike for being at AEW Dynamite and Rampage, getting our logo on TNT as well as the Mission Pro logo and a bunch of the big heads for Busted Open. Man, you guys rule it. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Bootsy's a big star now, so thanks for that.
Have you seen Bootsy's rider? It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It got to his head already. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting because like Hook, like I didn't know what to expect. Nobody really knew. He's very young.
Right.
And I thought he would come in as someone who was green and do some stuff to sort of, some basic stuff, just some flash, some flam, whatever. But boy, that wasn't the case. Like he's good. Like he's good right off the bat.
Yeah, it was a little shocking, and I'm happy for it.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it shouldn't be that much of a surprise because his father's Taz, but like I also know I used to listen to the Taz show, and he wasn't training. Like he was, he's a champion lacrosse player His team, I think, was either state or nationals. So he's he's an athlete in that sport. And I don't remember Taz ever mentioning that Hook had any interest in being a wrestler. So when he started showing up in AEW, I was like, I don't know what they're going to do with this kid because I don't think he has a background in it. But he's quietly been training, clearly, because he wasn't new getting in that ring last night.
Yeah, and obviously just the knowledge that he has accrued growing up, near the business, obviously that has helped. And, being a champion lacrosse player, he's got the speed, he's got that natural athletic ability because lacrosse is not an easy sport.
No, I agree. So, and some of the other things, that we saw this week, that tag match last night was pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I think every time FTR steps in the ring, they get better and better. And I already thought they were one of the best tag teams in the world when they left WWE.
Yeah. Tony, were you able to watch that match?
Yes. I saw that tag match, and it was, just as cliffhanger of a match as you'd want. All the spots. Kept watching Scott in the front row every time something would happen. Scott has a animated face anyway, so he was just, whenever they were doing all the spots out on the outside on the floor, I spent half my time watching Scott and the other half watching the match. So, but it was
shout out to
match.
Scott. Scotty is the best, man.
Yeah, Scotty's awesome. And one of the things I noticed, if anyone who's spent time with Scott, like, he is super high energy, like just naturally energetic and positive.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed he was in the front row. He was clapping twice as fast as everyone.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. When we saw him in Philly in September, he was just like, I knew he had a busy day before that, and then driving to Philly from Long Island and having the day that we had there, and then having to drive home that night. I had to drive home, but his drive is twice as long. I couldn't imagine, and he was still so hyped the whole night.
Yeah, because he would listen to Adam Cole Baby the whole way home. He did.
It's all about the boom.
It is all about that boom.
But another moment from Dynamite, the MJF, whenever they played MJF's music coming on and CM Punk came out to MJF's music, and the heat that CM Punk got, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
If that ain't a teaser for when CM Punk finally turns heel, because you know what's coming, that right there was teaser material right there, because he went in there and just eviscerated that crowd and just kept getting the heat. It was amazing.
Yeah, and that Long Island crowd was on point.
Yeah, and how much MJF was cheered at that crowd. Of course, that's his hometown, but I didn't expect him to get cheered that much. That was amazing.
No, I really didn't either. It was a little surprising, even though it's his hometown. It's MJF, and it was strange to hear him cheered that much.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the things that Mark talked about on the show, on the Busted Open show this morning, is that they were really smart to not try to play against type and to force the roles, knowing where they were, knowing the reaction they were going to get. Mm-hmm. CM Punk was already getting booed weeks ago, right? He's already getting booed against people like Eddie. When he was in that feud with Eddie was the babyface in that feud.
Yeah.
And so they were smart in letting him go out there and just do what he did. And MJF, one of the biggest heels in the business, gets a huge babyface reaction, and they just went with it. Even the promotion, the vignette they did for MJF during the show was tremendous. So well done.
It's interesting to me how fast Punk, without actually having a heel turn, he's kind of just become the heel because of the people that he's going against.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about was the TBS title tournament that they have coming up, and of course, we're going to see Thunder Rosa facing off against Jade Cargill for that spot in the finals. I know they've been sort of positioning Jade as this dominant force, but we also know Thunder, and she's pretty violent, like pretty vicious. I don't.
Yes.
I think. Who do you think wins this match?
So obviously I'm really hoping that Thunder wins. I think it would be amazing for her to be the first TBS champion. But I also do see the side that, Jade is being promoted as like the next big star. She is, her look is just so domineering, and I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Like, I think I think she would be a great champion, but at the same time, I think, she's still maybe a little too inexperienced. And Thunder is just, Thunder Rosa. She's the best. And I think she would carry that title very well.
Yeah, I'm going Thunder all the way on this one. Thunder's all the way. I think she's getting this belt. I think she's going to be a good representative to carry it. I see what you're talking about, Deb, about them pushing Jade, how they're placing her to be this next big thing. But
right.
But Thunder's Thunder. She's got too much heat behind her right now. Too much momentum going on behind her right now. So I think it's Thunder all the way.
Yeah, I think to quote the Faulkner Stars, for those of you that may know that, I think Thunder Rosa is on a roller coaster that only goes up.
Mm-hmm. That sounds accurate.
Right.
So the other match, and I know, Deb, you're going to get to it, and I know we were sort of a lot in our heads about this match, the Riho Jamie Hayter match. I did not expect I didn't expect it to be that physical.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
That was an amazing match, and Jamie Hayter has become a powerhouse. And Riho, I've been a little torn on her because she is so good in the ring, and we know she's been doing this a very long time, and she's so good, but her size is still she's clearly way smaller than everybody she goes against. So sometimes it's a little hard to see, someone so tiny get some of these moves on some bigger people. But she really has proven that she is very, very good in the ring.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So what were some of the other highlights that we saw this week?
Let me see. I think just overall, AEW is really hitting on all cylinders. They have really shown that, I think, the way that they lay out the shows, first and foremost, is really exciting. Dynamite and Rampage, you are in it the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So one of the interesting things I think that we talked about on Zoom the other night, and talking to our friends who were in the arena, that's the same arena that WWE ran 2 weeks prior, right? And they had half the attendance. We know now that WWE is telling everybody to sit down and just clap like it's a golf tournament. And the energy in that room for twice the amount of people was 10 times more energy.
Right.
I think Bully said it on the show the other day. It looks like people are having a party. They don't care if the rules are being followed or not. They're just having fun. And I think all of us have been to AEW shows at this point. And even Mrs. Front Row, who doesn't really watch wrestling, went. She's like, this is fun. This is a good time. I don't even have to know the storylines to know that this is energetic and a good friggin' time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Being to two AEW shows so far in Philly, it it is a party atmosphere. Even just, you know, getting there early to stand in line outside the arena waiting for the doors to open. It's a fun atmosphere just standing in line outside the building. You know, it's a lot of people, you know, complimenting each other on whatever shirt they're wearing or whatever signs they have. It's so much fun. And when we went, the show goes so fast because you're just having a blast the entire time. You're on this mega adrenaline high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my experience in Minneapolis when I went to Full Gear. That was the first show I ever went to, AEW. And, you know, even though I was in the nosebleed section, you know, up top, the crowd was still hype. You know, they were still having a good time. And, I mean, Full Gear was a good pay-per-view. And I would have given anything to be there in that crowd at Long Island with Scott and them. They just seemed like they were having a party from start to finish. So,
yeah, that was a really hot crowd.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to go that way because, you know, we used to go to a lot of the WWE shows because especially the house shows were a lot of fun. And for not a lot of money, you could go and see 3-4 hours of fun wrestling of top stars in the world. But now talking to people who have been to those shows recently and just the security and like the way that they're directed and all this stuff, it doesn't sound like a show that I'm interested in. In fact, over the next month, WWE is going to be here in North Carolina for 2 house shows and a Smackdown. We didn't buy tickets at all. AEW is going to be here on January 8th for that Battle for the Belts or whatever it's called. I forget the name of the show. We bought tickets for that. And they're like $50 for tickets for good seats to go have a blast for 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I got a notification that WWE, I didn't even look to see the date, but they're going to be in Allentown and the arena is literally 15 minutes from my house. I'm not going to go, but I will go to AEW every single time they're in Philly.
Yeah, I hear that. And Mrs. Front Row in the chat, she says, we only go to indie shows because we get front row seats. That's actually very true. And Trenda can relate because we were in the front row for all the NWA shows last weekend, and anything else is just a letdown.
Right. But, as Trenda would say, you're accustomed to a certain lifestyle now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I did want to touch upon, I know we didn't spend a ton of time on Mission Pro tonight because the show is about to start, and you guys did a full review last week, and we've been doing a lot of previews for the show. But I just wanted to ask you guys, like, what match tonight are you most excited about? And I'll go first just to give you a moment. For me, Lady Frost and Maddie Rankowski, you know, I'm a huge fan of both people. We saw Maddie last weekend in the NWA. We've seen both women in the NWA, both of them all over the place. But this is Lady Frost's Mission Pro debut. So I have a feeling she's going to be bringing her A game, and it's probably going to be it's the match that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, that's going to be, you know, a banger.
No, that's a Holodead match.
I personally am looking forward to Thunder and Anakin against JP Harlow and Mighty Mayra. I did a little bit of research this afternoon, and it seems like Thunder and Anakin are actually the first mother-son tag team. Wow. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited to see his debut. You know, learning from someone like Thunder, he has to have some good knowledge. So that's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, awesome. And it's interesting because Anakin's been training not only with Thunder, but he's been training in the Dog Pound Dojo with Jazz and Roddy Mack and Joe Galley on promos, and like those are some pretty heavy hitters. So I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Well, the match that I'm looking forward to is that scramble match, consisting of Kayla Sparks, who was on our show a few weeks ago. Shout out to Kayla. Sadie Lee Moss. We have a Nikita Knight, Ashley Dembois, Jasmine Allure, my favorite Genocide, and La Rosa Negra. So that
Yes.
if that is anything like that match was last week at Hard Times 2 when that fatal 4-way or match that match was just all over the place. So I'm expecting this match to be just as good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've reached the top of the hour, and I know folks want to get going and get all their snacks and drinks and stuff ready for the pay-per-views tonight. Is there anything else that you guys want to chat before we let folks go?
No, I think we really touched on everything that we want to talk about.
Yeah,
Tony, you
just
good?
everybody get on Title Match Network and get to Mission Pro, get that ordered. Watch Silver Bells. Watch the ROH pay-per-view. I mean, this is a good weekend for wrestling, folks. So
Oh yeah,
get strapped in and get ready to roll.
it seems
Agreed.
like every weekend is a great weekend for wrestling lately.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah,
I would like to get to a GCW show at some point
that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
because that looks like a blast.
Yeah,
So I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Thunder Rosa and Brian Rosa and everybody over at Mission Pro because they're very, very good to us and they give us a lot of props and a lot of spotlight and a lot of attention, and we greatly appreciate everyone over there.
absolutely.
You know, Melanie and Holodead and everyone. Where can folks find you on the socials, Deb?
At That's So Debonair, as always.
Tony?
You can find me at Tony Justice AJFA. And for those of y'all Metallica fans out there, you know what that means.
And I am at PW Front Row, and you can find us at the Nation's Corner and at Nation's Corner across all the socials. Look for us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Obviously, you're already on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, retweet, give us all the attention. We love it. All right, folks.
Yes.
Thanks. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.